you know what? I get sick of this. Right, hang on a minute. There you go. Right, good evening, and welcome to the Dark Mirror Show. And this week, he's done it. He's made it. He's got his jester hat on instead of his Hooper from the. Do you remember the film Hooper? Instead of the Hooper helmet that he had on last week, he's actually here. It was brilliant. When a great stuntman. But yeah, and we have Mr. Vinny Vineyard with us, who has more fingers and more eyes than I can count on my hand. Oh shit! So you know it's. And of course, we have Mr. Wayne, who is down the bottom end of the country from here. And we have the beard that rocks over there in the corner there, Mr. Josh Miota. And again, we have with us, who I've seen the stuff that he posts, and he's been on my Facebook for a long time. But it's nice to actually have you on there finally as a guest. So how the very devil are you?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate any opportunity to get out here so I can pontificate my wares and talk about all things funky down here in the American South.
Well, would you like to, because you do some fucking weird shit, man. Would you like to tell everybody what the hell you do?
Well, I was a pro wrestler for a long time. I was a bass player in a hip-hop band for a long time. I was in radio, stand-up comic. But right now we're focusing a lot on filmmaking. We make movies that go all over the world, TV shows too. I'm about to be in a show called, we just got done wrapping season 1, called Weird Roads, which I was a taxi cab. I own taxi cab companies in the South, and when you drive taxis in the American South, it's different than other places, because in other places you're going to see the Knicks play, or you're going to work, or you're doing this. But in the South, everybody has cars down here. So when you do a taxi ride in the South, there's somebody's in peril. So there's always a weird story. There's a lot of weird architecture. There's beautiful vistas. There's a lot of criminal activity. So anyway, it's a show about all the weird roads that I have traversed down in Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Virginia, that type of stuff. And some of it's paranormal too, because I'm a part of a paranormal team called Wrestling with Ghosts. And we just did a pretty big adventure last month. It was something that was a big deal for us, because none of us I'm a city guy from Baltimore, Maryland. And I don't like hiking, and none of my crew are avid hikers. But we went to the most remote city in the East Coast, which is a ghost town now, to do a paranormal investigation last month. And we missed Hurricane Helene by mere 30 hours. We would have been underwater where we were. And that was the hurricane that hit last month that wiped out North Carolina, Tennessee, a lot of Georgia, and Florida, which is unprecedented to have a hurricane hit North Carolina like it did. But pretty wild.
Well, then you could have had a really different show. You could have a ghost hunting show with storm chasing.
Well, or a ghost hunting show that featured us as the ghosts. Because I think the water rose 21 feet, and the remains of the city were right next to the river. So we figured it out. It was 21 feet is over 2 stories, and we would have been on the roof of the house, the one house that remains in Proctor, North Carolina, and we would have not done well. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's a good job you missed that then. Bloody hell.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So what was your wrestling name, and what did you wrestle in?
Funkmaster V. I wrestled Tennessee, North Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, Georgia, Virginia, just kind of the just as an independent wrestler. I wasn't on WWE or anything. There was, I don't know. I did it more to promote what I was doing in other avenues, but I had a lot of fun. I did it for many, many years and got some crazy stories out of that too.
You're going to have to tell us a few of those now. Now you've said that, you do know you're going to have to come out with a few of those things.
Well, I mean, wrestling is wild. I mean, I'll tell you something that I enjoyed being a wrestler, and it had benefits too. I remember I was in a litigation with an insurance company. I had a house that burned down, and my father-in-law, who hates me and his own daughter because he's an asshole, he told the fire inspectors that we set arson to our own house, and it delayed this insurance claim by over a year. We lived in a hotel for a year waiting for this thing to finish. So there was one day I was on Facebook and I put something like, everything's going great with my life right now. Everything's good. If my insurance adjuster would get his head out of his ass and come up with some sort of arrangement to settle this claim, I wouldn't have to go over there and, put him in the figure 4 leg lock. Well, apparently this horrified him. This terrified him. And it also, that comment delayed even more our settlement with the insurance company. So we were in this big round table of mitigation. And all these people were like, why did you get on Facebook and say this about the public adjuster or the insurance adjuster and stuff? And my attorney at the time was like, whoa. My client is a professional wrestler, and he gets paid to say outlandish things like this. And everybody on the other side of the table, they were all like, oh, you're a professional wrestler? And they started asking questions like, what is it? Oh, so anyway, it was like, it basically what happened was it turned everybody to be like a friend of mine or a fan of mine. And then we got much more money than we were even expecting. So in that regard, it was pretty awesome. Another crazy story is that I got, somebody called me one day and they were like, there is a title belt. Nobody knows what this is. And would you be interested in looking at it? And I said, sure. And they were like, you may want to buy it. And it's got tons of water damage on it. And so it's a championship wrestling belt. Yeah. And they said there's a guy who wants to buy it, but everybody in this area hated him. He's kind of a guy, like he would steal money from, like he would run a Christmas promotion for his wrestling league. Yeah. And like he would take all the toys, like people would bring toys to get in and he would just steal the toys. And he would say like he would give it to other people. And he would also, like, if you were doing a show to like benefit juvenile diabetes, he would set up next door to confuse the people and to cost you money, even though you're trying to do something charitable. He was the Grinch. Yeah, he was a cancer on the local wrestling scene, and this person hated his guts. He said, this guy is going to give me $200 for this belt. And I asked my friend, I said, who does this guy hate more than anybody else? And he said he hates Funkmaster V. He goes, well, I'd like to give Funkmaster V this belt. Long story short, I get this belt for free. It's got water damage on it, and nobody will tell me what it is. About 3 or 4 years later, a friend of mine who was a belt maker out of Indiana saw a picture of that. He goes, wait a minute, what is that? And I said, I don't know. Nobody will tell me what it is. I think there's a title belt that in Knoxville, they threw off the Gay Street Bridge into the Knoxville River. And it's got a lot of water damage. And we think it's that thing that Ronnie Garvin did. And he goes, would you care to ship that to me? And I'll pay you back and let me look at it. I said, sure. About 2 weeks later, he said, I had a friend from mine in California came out. He goes, what you have there is the only championship belt that has been missing for years and years and years. And it's the only belt that Hulk Hogan had that nobody knows where it is. And he goes, that thing is extremely valuable. Uh-huh. And not only was Hulk Hogan had it, there was other guys too. It was the territory was owned by Ric Flair and Blackjack Mulligan, and Ole Anderson held it, and Abdullah the Butcher held it, and Kamala held it, and part of the Midnight Express. I think Dennis Condrey held it. Anyway, but the main draw was this was the only belt that nobody knew where that Hulk Hogan actually had it, and the only title he ever held that wasn't a world title. And so I sold that to a Canadian a few years ago for 5 figures. So that was pretty awesome too. So wrestling's been beneficial.
I feel over here we do, because I liked watching the what's it called now? It's not WWE. Is it WWE?
I think so. Yeah.
Like watching it over here. I mean, I did kickboxing for years. I used to teach it, and I was British lightweight champion. Then I was British cruiserweight champion. But these days, I'm built for comfort, not for speed. Wayne's an origami champion, and Josh down there, he did MMA, and he's a shadowboxing champion as well, ain't you, mate? So and his beard is a champion. His beard will kick your ass.
You got to watch out for that.
I just wanted to go back to
Chuck Norris taught me how to grow this.
What are you on about? Chuck Norris that's the only thing Chuck Norris is scared of is your fucking beard, mate. That TV show that you were on about, you just done about the taxiing. Now, I've worked in taxiing for years. I used to work for a massive company in London called Addison Lee, and I used to do the logistics and stuff. And then I came down there up here to Yorkshire, and then I was a taxi driver myself for a long time for children with special needs and all this, that, and the other. I've never heard of a TV series like that or anything like that, and I find that so intriguing. Really, really intriguing. I like the idea of that. Can you tell us a bit more about that, if you're allowed to?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm from a big city on the East Coast, so I'm not from New York. I did live in New York for a minute, but I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, which is like a crime capital, but it's a city. It's a smaller New York kind of. It's kind of like a little small. It's a little smaller than Philadelphia, but it's a big city. So taxi work is so different when you're in the South. Like tomorrow, I've got to drive, and I know you British people, you're always freaked out about how far we drive. I've got a round trip tomorrow that's going to be about 300 miles to take somebody somewhere and then come back home. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm going almost out of the state, and so when you do taxi work down here, it's just way far.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're going to see. You don't know what you're going to get into. And a lot of the paranormal stuff with my paranormal group, we go past haunted locations. We go past strange, in the South has so much strange history too. And beautiful roads. I mean, some of the episodes that we have, there's one episode where we go to 2 different castles, which is weird for us. Our castles here typically are religious based. People always build castles apparently in the South to either pontificate their religious beliefs or they're afraid of the apocalypse. There was another episode where we visit Goats on a Roof, which is a roller coaster where there's goats all over the roof. But there's one that's Copperhead Road. We do an episode of the real Copperhead Road was a moonshine route from Kentucky down to Knoxville, Tennessee. And there's a mediocre rock song about it, but there's a lot of legends about that road. A lot of there's a 30 to 40 minute stretch of that road where there's no houses, there's no gas stations, there's just 500 foot sheer drop offs to your death if you miss the road, and abandoned coal mines. And there's a really odd religious structure out there that's in a segregated cemetery. And like I said, this is just stuff that we've picked up, just doing the taxi work. And we went to a place, the producer of the show, we went to a place that's a abandoned city that was some guy made a printing press, and it took off, but it's in the middle of nowhere. And this was over 100 years ago, and now it's empty. We were in this place, and they had a basketball hoop. And the guy I'm with is an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. He doesn't believe in the paranormal or anything like that. And, dude, we are in the middle of nowhere. And we're right where the basketball hoop is, and you hear children and a dog. And we're just like – and the guy, he is a war veteran. Yeah. And he's like, I've been in the Iraq War – he goes, this is probably the second creepiest place I've ever been to. So, and then there was growls and stuff inside. We went to the mansion part of it. And So it's basically a lot of urban exploring. There's some urban legends. There's like some paranormal stuff. There's some personal testimony about how I've been shot at and saved people's lives and stuff like that. So it's a cornucopia of a lot of different little stories and stuff. But it's very scenic too. It's the South's beautiful, and you can see a lot of really cool buildings, a lot of cool vistas.
I like the houses down in the South. What do they call them? Plantation houses.
Yeah.
They all with the front bits with the balustrades and everything. They always look really cool. And I'm yapping far too much. And these two, who normally talk the hind legs off a donkey, have been very, very quiet. So I'm going to let them talk away now. Gosh, shit. So talk.
But that's because you asked Vinny to introduce himself and tell us all about what he does.
I know.
Right.
I'm just.
No, you see, you set the question, you have to expect the answer.
Now listen here, gobshite. You wait till I see you. I'll box your fucking ears. Right now, I'm going down to see Wayne. In when is it? 12th December, isn't it?
12th of December.
Yeah, 12. Because we're off to Germany for a few days. Me and the missus for the Christmas markets, and Wayne's letting us stay over and looking after my car and everything. So we're going to come down there and see him. But yeah, because you guys, have you ever like Josh? Have you ever heard of anything like that? Because I haven't.
No.
Yep.
You have?
A place called Milton Abbas. It is literally like really weird. It's like a ghost town. It's all these old 400-year-old cottages, but there's only like a small handful of them. And you literally blink and you're through the other side of the village.
Is that down in Dorset?
Yeah, on the way to Weymouth.
Yeah.
And it literally has just got a pub at the very top of the street. It's just one street, and there's a pub at the top, and then a row of cottage houses, and then that's it. But there's nothing for like 20 miles before it, and nothing for about 20 miles after it.
Well, I used to live down that way. That's why I said as soon as I heard the name Abbas, you can hear it. When we start talking like that, we'd be down Somerset, you see, because I lived down there for 20 years. Like. And as you know, my eldest daughter's down there. And that's funny. You were talking about the 3-hour drive. It's a 5-hour drive from where we live to where my daughter lives. And it's 4 hours from where I live. No, it's more than that. It's about 5.5 hours to where she lives. It's 4 hours from me to Wayne. Because we're like a sort of like 3/4 of the way up the country on the right-hand side, right by the beach. And my daughter's down in the bottom left-hand corner of the country, down in Somerset. And Wayne's on the right. You're near the beach as well, actually, aren't you? You're sort of down, look at London, look to the right, and then that's where Wayne is. And of course,
17 miles away.
To the world. So yeah, but I've always wanted, and we've spoken about this a few times. I've always wanted to do the Dark Mirror show on tour, where we go to America and we hire an RV and we drive the paranormal highway. Plus, we go to places like Area 51 and all that sort of stuff, and we just film it and then put that up. And I've always wanted to do that. That'd be freaking awesome. You have two like mad English guys with the beard down there doing it.
I was lucky enough to be an actor in a movie called Vinny's Fantastic Rock and Roll Adventure, and the guy I kept my name. I was the lead in that movie, and it was a trip of a lifetime. We went from Tennessee, Knoxville, up to Chicago, and we went down Route 66, which went through Missouri, Texas, New Mexico. Then we shot up to Vegas, over to Utah, LA, through Arizona. And it was an amazing trek. And the American West, people talk about overpopulation being a problem. There is a lot of space. There is a lot of nothing. And I swear to God, you can go out and on a clear day, see the back of your head in some of those places. And there's a lot of places we could put human beings and stuff over there. But it was an amazing trip. And there was a lot of ghost towns out west. Especially on the Route 66 parts of it, where you would see like a street sign that would say something like Walker with an arrow, and you would see about 6 or 7 buildings, a church, maybe like City Hall, a couple of domiciles, and they're all abandoned on a dirt road. And you drive in some more, and then you'll see another one that would say something like Proctor or something, and you'd see the same thing. And I was like, we were on such a shooting crunch I wanted to, man, I was like, God, we got to go check out some of these abandoned cities. I mean, that to me, that's the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah.
But I love urban exploring, and especially stuff out in the middle of nowhere. You're like, man, this is some cool shit. But we didn't get a chance to really poke our head around there. I'll do that later, though.
I can imagine seeing like the city notice board, welcome to such and such population, and then like it's like a countdown where it starts off at like 1,000 and then at like 998, right away down to 0. Where somebody just crossed out and put the next number in.
Centralia, isn't it? Because Centralia is what they based.
Silent Hill.
Yeah.
I went through Centralia too. That was wild.
I'd see that's a place I'd like to go to just to have a look, because it's still burning, isn't it? All the coal seams.
That's what they say. It's I'll tell you, Centralia is. I've heard all the legends. I saw the TV show about it. I heard it was about Silent Hill. I heard everything about it. When you go there, it's 100% completely different than what you think it's going to be. Yeah. It's really close to other towns. I don't know. In my head, I kind of thought it would be very remote city, but there's like a biggish town. You go about 3 or 4 miles, and then you're in Centralia, and then there's another town that's pretty close to it, and there's still like 2 houses that are still there, and there are some interesting things to look at. Like there's like steam pipes that come out of the ground that lets out some of the heat from the burning. If people don't know what we're talking about, but there's somebody put something flammable on a landfill, and it went into a cave system under the city, and it's burning. They said there's enough fuel down there for the city to burn for 1,000 years. Like he said, the game Silent Hill's based on it. And so like the road started to warp. A house like went into the earth, and then there was like spontaneous combustions that would occasionally happen. Nobody ever got hurt. The craziest thing about it is there's a road that's melted, and you can go there with the spray can and like tag it. You can do graffiti. I think they've removed that. I'm not sure because I went in 2018. But the craziest thing is the vegetation. The vegetation, there are leaves that are as big as this room. It's because of the heat, and so there's almost like a tropical situation going on with the flora, and it looks like you're like King Kong's about to come out and gobble you up or whatever. It's pretty wild.
So, you were saying when I was talking to you last week, wasn't it? Your favorite things that you like looking into is the legend of Spearfinger.
Well, I'm not big on cryptids. I know that's probably not popular because I'm always somebody that's like, hey, we got to see. So Spearfinger, though, is an exception. And the thing that was wild is that our show, Wrestling with Ghosts, which we're starting to put our episodes on YouTube, but it was on a bunch of small American TV shows. 3 wrestlers and a paranormal dork would go around, and we would use humor. Our mantra was that we would flirt with the girls, tease the kids, and joke with the dudes, and we would get amazing evidence. And it's true. It was it's crazy the kind of stuff that we caught. Well, we live in most of us live, we're kind of spread out, but most of us live in a place called Gatlinburg, and Gatlinburg is the second largest tourist attraction on the East Coast. It's kind of like amusement parks and go-karts and all that kind of stuff, pancake houses and stuff, and Dollywood, and musical shows. It's like 27 miles. It's like basically Las Vegas if Las Vegas was ran by Baptists, if that makes sense. It's kind of what it's like. And people love it, and they go down there and they kind of like, oh, look at all this kitsch hillbilly stuff. And so we're around there, but there was a period of time in the Great Smoky Mountains, which is the most visited national park in America. It's beautiful, and there are all these trails, and there's all these like conscientious objector camps and Indian burial grounds and paranormal locations. It's really cool to go and go through the trails and look at that stuff. There's a 4-star hotel with no roads to it. You have to hike to it. It's crazy. It's a wild place. Zany is the word I use. But there was a period in about 16 months, and I forget the figure, it was either 12 or 20 people died by falling trees in the forest. And that is an old moniker of a Cherokee legend named Spearfinger. And so we did what we thought was going to be a fruitless investigation. And we found a place out there called the Nolan Creek Trail, which was considered the most haunted trail in North Carolina. And we're like, I don't know, is it like, do they rank them like the AP poll in college football? I don't know how you rank what's haunted and what's not haunted. But so we decided to do an investigation. It's real cool, too. If you're ever in America, it's another place to check out. Bryson City, there's a road called the Road to Nowhere, and it's a road that shoots out about 20 miles. It gets to a like a tunnel, and they call it the Tunnel to Nowhere. And on the other side of the tunnel, there's nothing. It turns into a trail, and there's nothing along the way. There's no convenience stores, gas stations, houses. There's nothing. It's just this shoots out, and they were trying to connect to a city that got flooded out. But anyway. And they stopped halfway through it. So we did an investigation of Spearfinger. So this Cherokee legend, and this is the thing. I'm white. You know, everybody in the United States is part Native. By the way, ever since that,
my missus is part Nellis, because Nellis Air Force Base is all to do with her family. I can't remember which Native American it is, but her family are descended from Native Americans over there, and she's a cow. She'll go outside in the sun like me. When I had hair, I used to have red hair. I used to be a redhead, so if I go out in the sun, I literally look like a killer tomato. She goes out in the sun, and she goes from being like Yorkshire, like York, how you doing, to I tell you studies that. Can I help you? She just goes chocolate straight away, and I'm like, you cow, absolute cow. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Well, what I was getting at is ever since that Kevin Costner movie came out called Dances with Wolves, everybody's like, hey, I'm 1/16th Cherokee. You know, everybody in America got on that name.
Or they're part Irish. Irish.
Oh, everybody down here is Irish except for me. I don't know. We're surrounded by Irishmen. I'm Italian. So anyway.
I'm actually Irish. I have an Irish passport and everything.
So everybody down here is Irish. So we went into a reservation and we wanted to ask about Spearfinger, and they were very guarded because we were a bunch of crazy looking white and black people or whatever. And we were just like, hey, what's going on with this? And they were just like, why do you want to know? And we're like, well, we'd like to know. We've heard about Spearfinger, and it's part of our lore too. Spearfinger was kind of the boogeyman in the southern mountains, you know, and so we they would tell us some things, but they were real guarded. And then I realized this isn't just their boogeyman. This has a lot to do with their culture, their identity. It has a lot to do with their religion, and even if it's not true per se,
like Skinwalkers.
Yeah, there's a lot of they explain a lot of different things with their stories. You know what I mean? And they don't want people coming in and making fun of it. And we were like, well, look, I know I'm wearing a mink coat and a weird hat, and I'm not going to make fun of it. We're going to treat it with respect. So they told us. So Spearfinger is a rock golem that can turn into a person, and she's got a very long forefinger that's made out of this obsidian. And she can mimic. That's her main gimmick. Is to mimic. If it rhymes, it's true. She can look like a grandmother. She can look like a girl you want to bone. She can look like a kid. And once she gets you off the trail, she'll stab your liver with the obsidian finger. She'll eat your liver. And then a few days later, you'll drop dead. She can knock over trees, which is why we went over there. She can throw boulders. She can manipulate nature. And they finally killed her. And when we went over there was nothing on the internet about Spearfinger. Nothing. And when we did our episode and we made a movie about her called The Hike, but when we did that, you look now and you look up Spearfinger, there's all this information about Spearfinger that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years. And a lot of the artwork that people do is based on what we made in our movie, The Hike, which our actress, who was part Native, she portrayed Spearfinger, and they use her as she's a really good looking girl. But now instead of Spearfinger used to be this ugly hag, and now Spearfinger's a kind of a juicy tomato, now, so because of the movie. But yeah, we went out there, man, and we ran into something that we think is Spearfinger, man. It was crazy. I don't want to keep talking. I'm an enemy of brevity.
Carry on. Good luck. Fascinated.
But we went on this Nolan Creek Trail, and the natives said if Spearfinger's going to be around, there's going to be orange lights. Look for orange lights. Those are warning from the forest guardians. Yeah. Those are warning lights. Well, we're out there getting the cameras ready, and we're all bull crapping and talking big noise like we always do. And all of a sudden, we capture on camera, and we all notice it in real time, orange lights. Now, we're talking about we're on the road to nowhere. We're in one of the most remote spots on the eastern seaboard. There's not traffic. There's not a car. There's no cities. There's nothing. There's no houses. It's 2 a.m. We did that on purpose. We're like, what are those orange lights about? So we keep walking down, and we're walking across. We're going down this trail, and the water is nearby. There's a stream that goes right next to the trail. Mm. Now, if you guys, I don't know which one of you guys are in the paranormal or whatnot, but there's a lot of people say paranormal activity happens around water. They can use water. I'm more of a skeptic. I'm like, I think water sounds like human voice sometimes. So I think it's easy to get confused. So you can see, so it's like, something like plop, 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 the water, plop, plop, plop. It can sound like somebody going, hey, man. And you're like, hey, was that somebody talking? So we kept hearing voices. And I'm just like, man. And they were all coming from over here, but then they started coming over where the water wasn't. And then you started to hear screams. Now, water doesn't sound like screams. Mm-hmm. And then you would start to hear this. And then we're like, dude, we're surrounded by something, man. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere, 2 a.m, a group of about 5 or 6 with the crew. And we're like, okay, this is getting buck wild now. Well, all of a sudden, I got the camera and I'm in the back. And I hear behind me Luke, who my tag team partner in pro wrestling, 7 feet tall. His name's Big Luke. He looks like a summertime Santa Claus, or he looks like a guy that you know how they when they cut men out of wood, with a chainsaw. The guy with the big beard and the big hair. That's what his beard puts my man's over here. It's a shame. Josh is over here. Mine too. He's got this big ass beard, long hair. He's 7 feet tall.
He's on steroids.
Lumberjack.
Yeah, he looks like a lumberjack. So I hear him behind me go, hey, guys, Luke is in front of the group, 15, 20 feet in front of us. And I sit there and go, whoa. So we stop the camera. We go back and listen to it. Hey, guys, right behind. We got a directional camera. We hear the hey, guys behind us. There's nobody behind us. I was the last man down. And so we're like, Spearfinger is a mimic. And so we're like, what is that about? We walk about another 50 feet, 100 feet, a rock, and we caught this on camera too, flies out of the woods, misses my daughter's head by an inch.
Shit. And
hits the tree with the velocity of Nolan Ryan fastball. Whap! There's nobody around us. There's no campers. There's nothing. And the rock itself, funny enough, my 7 foot tall bearded, fella, my tag team partner, he's an amateur gemologist. He picks the rock up. He goes, this rock has no business being in the Smoky Mountains. Now, he said what the rock was. I'm not an amateur gemologist, so that information went right out of my head. But this is a foreign rock to this area, which is it's not indigenous to that area. So we keep hearing the blah, 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 screams, and we're all kind of like, okay, this is getting kind of weird, and we hope nobody gets hurt. We get to a beaver dam, and the beaver dam goes across the river, and we're sitting there going, dude, it's about 2:50 in the morning. None of us are great swimmers. None of us are great athletes anymore. We're all pro wrestlers, and all of our knees are shot. if anybody gets hurt, we're going to have to carry our fat asses out of the woods for over a mile. Let's not brave the beaver dam. And we're all in agreement. Okay, we're not going to try to leg across the beaver dam. And right then, we turn around, and my daughter's, all her legs are covered in monarch butterflies.
Huh.
I have no idea what that means, but monarch butterflies are not nocturnal. There is a word for that. They're like human beings. They go through the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, but they're all over her legs. And I've had some spiritual people and some witches and some pagans and some natives say that that's a big spiritual thing, and I've since forgotten what that means. But as soon as we walked back from that spot all the way to our car, those human voices and screams and shit from the river, we didn't hear one, which validated the point that what we were hearing was not the natural.
Yeah.
It wasn't water. It was something. We were hearing something else. Now, I don't know if we passed a test. I don't know if the spirit guardians, if Spearfinger was like, all right, these people suck. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened, but there definitely was a situation where we were out there and there was something. And if whoever's in the paranormal with you guys, if you're in something, you can be in a situation where it's like, ooh, God, ooh. And then for an inexplicable reason, all that tension, all that energy, all the spookiness, the camera sometimes falls. All of that tension resolves, and it feels like you're walking around the food court in the mall. There's no fear at all. There's no vibe. Yeah, and we were all like, there's nothing left. And so we went back, and then that's when we were like, this would make a really cool movie. And it's also, we decided to make a series of 6 movies, which are horror comedies, about legends and lore of the Appalachian South, because as filmmakers, there's a lot of New York shit. There's a lot of stuff, Chicago, Texas, LA. There's not a lot about the Appalachian South. And so we've helped Spearfinger become more popular. And we just did a movie about another cryptid down there. And hopefully when that starts to take off, people will be like, oh, wow, that's a really interesting story about this particular part of the Smokies. And we did a movie about religious dogma and stuff like that, which is real bad in the South. And so, we started to showcase that stuff. But, Spearfinger is is something that's on the rise as popularity is concerned, about people going down and wanting to check it out. And we also, when we went, I was telling you before we got on the air, I just did that investigation in Proctor, which is that remote city that was flooded. That's part of where she tread too. She walked through Proctor, that area. So we went down there to see if we could revisit her, which she didn't make an appearance this time, but other things did. So
it's weird because like the setup with myself and Wayne and Josh and everything is like we have our own team and that, but I'm still paranormal, but my forte is like ufology and cryptozoology and conspiracy. Josh is a mixture of all sorts, really, aren't you? Wayne is like, he's predominantly paranormal, aren't you? As in ghosts and ghoulies and things that go bump in the night. But we had a thing once. Have you heard of Rendlesham Forest over here in the UK?
Yes. Right.
Wayne and I went to Rendlesham Forest, and we had a similar sort of thing. We were filming for a thing, and in the break we're filming, that some of them went off to go and get some more lights because we were right where the UFO landed, where the monument is, and everything. And we were just taking a break, and we were looking, and we'd seen three UFOs we saw that night, wasn't it? Because
six in total.
Was
you
it?
saw 6 what?
Yeah.
There, you can see that it's like it's a copse, and you're right in the middle of the woods, and it's a circular clearing, and it's where the UFO allegedly landed in one of these places. The meeting that was held in a field just further down, but when you look up, it's completely circular, and it's clear skies. There's no light pollution, nothing. And I remember the 3. Was it 6? I remember there was 3.
There was two sort of went from west to east at an angle to each other.
Yeah.
Then there was the 2 either side of the clearing, just above the tree lines. Then there was the one that in the easterly direction went from south to north, but it sort of did a little wavy pattern.
Yeah.
And then there was the one that just sat right above us.
Oh yeah, well I was about to get to that one. Yeah, and we were there, and we were taking a break, and we were looking up, watching all this going on. And every time a UFO went over, you can tell it's a UFO because it's different light. No, there's no fore and aft lights, no starboard, nothing like that, and it's always like a weird orange light. And then within a few seconds of it going, wasn't it? A fighter jet had been scrambled anyway. This jet went fuck off straight after it.
Wow.
What got us more than anything was we checked on the FAA website. Obviously, their radar indicates whether there's military aircraft or civilian aircraft in the area. And none of these objects were showing up on the FAA website. Yet after the last one that we saw, which Mark took a photo of, and that then disappeared in an easterly direction, 2 F-15s from RAF Lakenheath, which is just down the road, came over in the same direction, and they showed up on the radar.
Now this big one, no, we didn't hear it arrive, did we?
No.
When it was a clear night, there was no clouds, and when we were looking up at the cops, I went, Wayne, what the fuck is that? Wasn't it? And he looked up, and you had three points of light on a triangle. And remember, clear night, you could see all the stars and everything. And this triangle that was there was no stars inside that triangle, and there was 3 bright pinpricks of light, and nothing inside it. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" And he's looked up, and the others who were there with us are like, "Oh my god, what the fucking hell is that?" And actually, we managed to take a photo, and it's on our Dark Mirror show. If you look in the photos there,
oh, cool.
You'll be able to see it. And that's the actual photo that was taken that night. We never heard it arrive. We never heard it go. We had the MOD police watching us because of whatever the hell was going on. And then the other few came back with the cameras. We were like, guess what you just bloody missed? And they missed the whole lot, and they were not happy. And they were cursing us.
Oh, man.
It was almost as if they knew something was going to happen that night, because when we first got there, we went to the East Gate, which in the original sighting back in the 80s, they were seen from the East Gate. So we went to the East Gate and started filming the introduction to our episode. And this white pickup came down, and 2 security guys got out of the truck and stood there watching us. Then we moved down to the other end of the runway on the main road, and they followed us down to there, and they stood there watching us. And then as we walked off down the footpath, which leads to the site, they'd obviously gone back. But during the course of that evening, we kept hearing footsteps all around us, but could not see anybody. And they must have known we were coming.
Is that a UFO hotspot? Like people go there?
The UK's Roswell.
It's what?
Yeah.
It's the UK's Roswell.
So you go there, let's say 100 times. How many times do you think you'll see something that you couldn't identify?
Out of all the times we've been there, we've only ever seen it that once.
Yep.
Okay. And you've been how many times?
3.
Okay.
I've been about 4 or 5 times, but the problem is there used to be old settlements there. It used to be just down the road from there, there's an old Saxon burial site. So there used to be settlements around that area for the best part of 1,500 years, maybe longer. But the forest itself was known to have witches in, and strange satanic rituals were taking place around that area as well. So there's always something goes on there, whether it's with UFOs or with spirits and ghosts. You know, there's always something happening there that you can't sort of pinpoint.
That sounds fun.
It's weird when you look at the people who go to the same place, and they go to the monument. Hardly anybody ever sees anything, do they? It's normally more the spooky stuff that goes on in the forest. They don't normally see the UFOs, but we saw the UFOs and managed to take a bloody photo of it, you know.
That's awesome. Well, one thing I got into recently too that you guys might be hip on, and this is the thing that I like. I like doing the Wrestling with Ghost show because I think it creates a scientific, even though it's comedy based and we're pro wrestlers and stuff, it's a scientific, at least, documentation of these human beings experienced this, and they did not have an explanation for it. Now, a third party could come in and go, well, this was probably somebody breathing in the mic. This wasn't, whatever they want to say. But at least we're saying this is a record of a paranormal incident. And that's what I like kind of doing. Now, we got into something. One of the main girl on our team, Candy Thompson, she lives in a really crazy part of the United States called Tabor City, which is near Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. And it's flat and barren, and you could see a road go for miles. Well, she said there's a road down here in the middle of nowhere, and you can on Causey Road, and there's a thing called the Causey Light. The craziest thing about the Causey Light, the Causey Light has no story. Normally, it's like there's a train and it killed a bunch of children playing marbles on the tracks, and now there's a brakeman with a lantern going, "No, children." There's no story. But we went down there on a lark, and we're talking about 7-8 hour drive to get down there.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we see the MF. And so we're like, okay, that's a car. Well, there are no cars. So the thing that I like about a ghost light, by the way, when you see a real ghost light, it looks different than a light that a human could produce, like a flashlight or a spotlight or something. But here's what I like. Because I like talking to people that don't believe in this stuff, and they think people in the paranormal stuff they're losers or whatnot because we believe in this stuff.
I will do.
Like Ricky Gervais, your guy.
Yeah.
I like Ricky anyway. But anyway, it's like the thing about a ghost light is like that's either a ball of light floating 20 feet off the ground, 300 feet away from us, just this ghostly ball of light, or it's a crazy ass MFer with a weird light in the middle of nowhere waiting for us. What is creepier? So whatever it is, it's creepiness personified. It's like a little horror show. It's either an inexplicable paranormal light that nobody knows what in the hell it's doing, or it's just a crazy guy with a hook for his hand and he's wanting to kill children or something. I don't know, but like to me, it's a good way to get people into the paranormal. It's like a baby step. It's kind of like if you're trying to get somebody to eat sushi and you're like, well, hey, this eel is barbecued. It's not raw. It's a good way to kind of get them into the sushi world. I think ghost lights are fun for that too, but there's nothing quite like going out there and capturing that. That's why I brought that up. Like you guys went to the UFO Disneyland and you actually caught something. That's got to be. That's like winning the Super Bowl. That's like winning the World Cup.
Well,
it was pretty much that way. And when Mark told me to look up, I looked up and saw it, and I dropped my phone. So I'm like, oh shit.
I will say it, Catherine. Don't worry, I will say it. As you can see by my name up there, I'm known for going aliens rather loudly, but it's like all this stuff when they turn around and say, "Oh, it's ball lightning, it's this and it's that," and you look at me and you're like, "Fuck the bollocks, is it?" And because we've got the same things over here. They used to be called will-o'-the-wisps and things like that, and when they were seen in the woods and things. But yeah, they're well known all over the place. But you'll find that a lot of these lights are near where alleged doorways are, where the Fae people come in and out. Because there's doorways all around the world. Like in Ireland, you got the High Brazil was the island just off Ireland where the original Fae kings and queens, the Tuatha De Danann, came to Ireland and did all that lot. But there's doorways everywhere. But you'll find that in every culture around the world, or any legend, you'll find it. There's always these lights seen near these doorways. My own personal thing is, if these lights are being seen near these doorways at certain times, does that mean that the doorway is actually active and being used? Is it some type of energy that's being used to open the doorway up?
Well, when we did we captured this in our episode of Wrestling with Ghosts, which is on YouTube. This one's on YouTube. It's called the Causey Light. If anybody wants to check it out, it's and again, it's not the best. It's not. It doesn't look like Emmy award-winning BBC One footage. Everything happens so fast that it's kind of like herky-jerky. Like, oh my God, there's the Causey Light. Like we didn't have time to set up. So It's still a good episode, though. It's great. I think it's a great episode. But when the light happened, so we were trying to disprove it like we do. Like, we're like, okay, we think it's a car, even though we're on a train track and we're in South Carolina and it's straight as an arrow for miles.
Yeah.
And it's like those old pictures, all the perspective. I mean, that's where there's no hills or nothing. So we get in a car and we're trying to replicate that light. And dude, it's terrible. The headlights of a car are way much brighter than this thing was. It illuminates all of nature. This thing was just an orb that did not illuminate any of the trees or nothing. It was just this orb out here. It wasn't a light. And so when we went out to this orb, to piggyback off what you're saying, Mark, there was this turnoff that kind of came off the road and it went straight into like this dirt mud road. And my car almost got stuck. We kind of did this. We hung a right turn and then we're right there in the mud. But as we were out there, part of the team was like watching, like, hey, what you guys doing down there? And we were on that walkie-talkie. This purple light encapsulates all of us.
Yeah.
And they're all like, there's purple light encapsulating you. We don't have any purple lights. We didn't have any funky disco lights in the car or nothing like that. It was just like, and we're sitting there going, there's blue smog all around the way around us at 1 a.m. Like, what is that about? You know? And so have no idea. And it encapsulated and it was thick and it just passed on. But you could see it even on a camera from a quarter of a mile away. It just encapsulated where that orb was. So what was that? You know, I mean, that's crazy energy or light or fog or who knows.
See, like with us, I mean, I'm a huge believer in it. I'm gonna say it, Catherine. All right. I'm a huge believer in aliens, and I don't think that we are the only speck of dust out in the cosmos that's got well, we say intelligent life, but look at all of our politicians. But hey, anyway, there's I think we have a lot of visitors from elsewhere, as in the aliens, and we have visitors from underneath the crust of the earth, which I think also get mistaken for aliens. There you go. You've had it 3 times tonight. Jesus. But I think there is a hell of a lot of stuff coming because in all the Josh and myself and Wayne, we go down various rabbit holes when we do research and things, and everything is pointing to it's 2027, isn't it? It's supposed to be something coming end of this year, beginning of next year, and they have to do final full disclosure by 2027. And again, this is not our opinion. This is just what we found with research. And whistleblowers in the bobberment, we can't say the G word because when we say the G word, it triggers something, and we get all our stuff cut off when we're filming and when we're broadcasting, and all the comments and stuff get cut. So we can't say the G word. But bobberment.
What's the G word? Can we spell it?
Bobberment's with a G instead of a B.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Really? When you say the G word, all your stuff goes the same way?
We've had the show stopped loads of times when we've done that because we keep hitting the nail on the head and with certain things. But they've been told they have to do the bobbins all around the world, not just ours or yours, but everybody. They have to do full disclosure by 2027, and we're supposed to have definitive proof of it's either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. But if we don't and they don't come out with anything, they've got till 27 allegedly before all the shit hits the fan and everybody comes out and goes, we told you we were here, we told you should have told them, you're fucked. So we don't know what's going to happen, but yeah.
Did you with the American politician coming out saying that they had unidentified crafts, and they kind of admitted that a couple of years ago when COVID was going on, what do you think? Why did they wait till then? And why do you think they did that? And why do you think they're trying to hide something or cover something up with that? Or
it's got to the point.
Yeah.
We've done various shows, all of us, and I'm going to let freaking Josh talk in a minute because he's just sat there and his beard's itching.
Well, I'll answer that one. I know within a lot of areas within the UFO community, there's apparently somebody who's going to show up in 2027. And they pretty much told the world governments, hey, if we got somebody to come arrest on your planet, you can either expel them, and they're like really deeply involved in our governments, or we're going to just come and arrest them, and you can deal with the aftermath of our civilization. You know,
somebody's going to come. Are you saying somebody from another planet?
Apparently.
Yeah, another group.
Yeah.
Are they going to present themselves like, hello?
Offshore. It'll be offshore, isn't it? Off the coasts. You're going to start seeing lots of sightings that'll be just off the edge of the sea, so you can stand on the beach and see them, but they won't come in because they don't want to scare you. But there's going to be lots more sightings of that, and because of the advent of social media, better and better cameras, and all the stuff that everybody's putting out there, and as soon as they take a photo, it's out there for the world to see.
Everybody's a camera now.
Yeah, and it's got to the point with all the leaks and all the whistleblowers, the Bobberments of the world have no choice. They have to come out with whatever is going on and let us know. Well, I don't know why it's this date, but it has to come out by this year anyway.
I hate to bring up politics, but if either of you saw the Trump-Rogan interview, and when Joe Rogan asked Trump about what did you learn about UFOs when you were president last time, and he's like, there's stuff on Mars. Yeah, and he said there's stuff on Mars, and then Joe Rogan kind of joked about it, and he's like, no, you need to look at Mars. He put a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah.
And Tesla doesn't talk about the Mars mission anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching a documentary today, and it was done by a guy called George Knapp. He's a reporter in Vegas.
I've heard of him.
And he's done a series called Investigation Alien. And it turns out that after the disclosure, the Pentagon then went back on that disclosure and said, we don't have anything. We've never reverse engineered anything. Yeah. We've never produced any stuff that's 500 years, 1,000 years more advanced. But he's actually managed to contact a new whistleblower who is now helping him build some documentation to counteract the Arrow project, which was what discredited alien spacecraft and stuff.
There's supposed to be another big conference.
That will go back to Congress.
Sorry, Josh?
What he was talking about, that's supposed to be in the next couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah.
It's to be a big...
We've only got...
Yeah, I mean, this was filmed, I think, this was filmed back in March, March this year. And that's only just been released over here on Netflix. And I was having a look at it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is pretty cool.
Well, the
other thing before we go to was the Kennedy files is going to be opened up as soon as he hits office. I don't know if you heard that as well. He said that on Joe Rogan.
There's a lot of weird stuff with that. I can't actually say, but from what I was told, they all said it was all this and it was all that, and it was the guy that got taken out. It wasn't him; it was somebody up on the bridge, and that comes from somebody who worked inside the bomb and has the knowledge. And we've actually spoken to him, interviewed him, and he said, "Oh yeah, it was this guy on the bridge." So you never know if that does come out. It does, but
I love the fact that you've used the word "bobberment" and that you so much that you can interject it into a sentence like it's a real word. I think it's part of your lexicon. I like that.
Yeah, I think it triggers whatever the face, whatever is used, and as soon as you say that word, it kicks off and they start monitoring. So we've had that loads of times before, so we have to be very careful.
Yeah, I think the last time that we ended up losing all our comments. And we had to restart the live 3 times, and in the end afterwards I said to Mark, we're going to have a code word.
Yeah. So we say Bobberments. But what pisses me off about the Bobberments is, like, especially the UK and the US, because they're all up each other's asses and they're all just as corrupt as each other. But the fact that they go, Yeah, do you know what? Gosh darn dingly done it. I say, yes, he's right. He's right. There are aliens. Yes, we have got them. Yes, we've known about them for years. Look at the Renaissance paintings. You will see all the proofs that you need. Everything is all there. And then they go, yep. And then they went completely backtracked and went, no, don't know what you're talking about, mate. Nah, fucking, there's nothing here, mate. Don't know. We're on our own on this bit of rock in the middle of bloody nowhere. And they completely backtracked. And literally the world's gone, fuck off.
I just think it's crazy that the guy came out during COVID and said there's evidence of UFOs. And he didn't come out and say anything crazy. And then this world is so screwed up right now that nobody even gave a crap. It was just like, we know. I thought when the government finally would go, hey, it's real, that it would stop the presses. It would be on the nightly news. It would be, there would be nonstop news. It was just like, whatever. I mean, it's so funny. Our populations, I love America, don't get me wrong, but our government is so crappy, and our news sources all the news channels over here are terrible. You just have to become jaded, or you're an idiot. You have to become complete cynics to everything you're told. The government could come out and go, hey, the sky is blue. And then you're like, whoa, is it really? Why are they lying to me right now? I hate that it's gotten that way, but we just were like, whatever, we know.
What's that say? The G-Word guys, there are movies, CCTV videos, pictures, eyewitness accounts, release documents from you guys. Former 51 employees who have come forward and literal common sense. Stop trying to hide it and tell us that it's not real. We already don't have any faith in anything you say ever. So at this point, you say they're not real, and we hear they are, but we don't want to admit it. Exactly. That's the whole reason why they backtrack, because they know as soon as they turn around and go, yes, they're here. Yes, they're real. Yes, we know about them. They've then got to explain why they've been hiding it for all these years. And it's that we don't want to do.
I know you guys are about to end, but what's happening in 27? Are they going to come here and just have a cookout with us, or are they going to?
Yeah, they're going to come and have a barbecue.
Is it dangerous, or is it goodwill? Is it?
I don't think it's dangerous. Most of us think it's not dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. The belief system is that when they arrive, they're going to stop their ships over large bodies of water, so as not to alarm the general populations, and so that everybody can see them and see the ships, and they'll stay there for a little while, and then they'll introduce themselves. But we've been saying for years that we're being drip fed the information, so that when it does happen, it won't come as any surprise.
And what we're going to do, we've got ambassadors for the ufology world, as in the Dark Mirror radio show, guys, because you've got me, who's part alien, with the C3PO metal leg as well, and then you've got Wayne and his magic lights that hang up in the air, and then you got Josh's beard, and so we're all going to go to the coast. We're going to have Josh's beard there as well, and then we're going to go, all right, guys, come on, let's go and have a cup of tea. We'll sort it out.
So are they going to be all over the planet, or are they going to be in the UK or America?
All over.
Yeah,
again, it's not what we say, because we're quite level-headed and we don't believe every single thing that comes out. But this is research, and you know yourself, you don't do research through mainstream browsers because you won't get the research. This is
channelers, mediums, psychics, it's the whole board.
All the rabbit holes. I mean, Josh's own show is called Down the Rabbit Hole. You know,
Lost in the Rabbit Hole.
Lost in the Rabbit Hole. I thought that was your second. But you know, it's when you go down there in it, and Josh will tell you, when you start doing the research, you know yourself, you go down there and you follow one thread, you will find out so much stuff, you know, and you do get the old. I mean, the most bizarre thing I've ever heard was Bigfoot is actually an alien, and this is a prison planet, and all the alien and all the big feet were put here as prisoners, and fuck off. You know, but
have you ever thought? I don't know how much time you got, but have you ever thought about why we are the only species on the planet that can't exist out in the wild? We can't swim. We can't stay in cold environments.
Oh, we have covered that.
The sun burns our skin.
We're not from here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've heard that too. That we're not really from, because everything else on this planet you could just live outside nonstop, no worries. But we can't.
Well, it's supposed to be ourselves, octopus and squid aren't from here, and the reason that they say we're not from here is because you got the golden blood ratio and the whole thing that we have to have this type of skin to be able to survive, but to go out in the sun we can't, we're knackered, you know. And again, you look at because again this goes back to the Anunnaki and the legend of them saying that they took the native hominid and then put their DNA in us and made us, but that's where our part of alien comes from, is from all Anunnaki means is traveler from space. So it just means that whatever they were, or whatever the Anunnaki were, wherever they came from, their DNA is in us, and that's why we have all these problems now, because we get sunburnt and everything.
That's in Genesis too, man.
Yeah. And Enoch, that's why it's left out.
Yeah, it's the sons of God came down and made sweet whoopee to the beautiful virgins, and no preacher ever talks about that verse, because it's like, what does that freaking mean? So,
well, they called them the Nephilim and tried to make them out as demons, and they weren't. They were just, you know, they were part. They were the same as us. They were part and part us. So they, in real terms, they were 3/4 alien and 1/4 hominid, because we came out Homo erectus, with the alien DNA in us, you know. So, you know, hey, Homo erectus. The only thing I wish that the Anunnaki had done was give me a bigger penis. I'd have loved that, but they didn't. So fuck you, you know. But apart from that, and that explains a lot of the stuff that's on here. Is it's coming through doorways, it's come from elsewhere, but they've got till 2027 to explain me, Josh's beard, and something about Wayne, but I can't go into it because it's a medical thing and he's got some cream for it. But that explains that.
Beautiful.
Would you like to come on again at some point?
Yeah, I'd love to. In fact, you guys are hip on this shit. So next time I come on, I forgot to even mention this. There is a book called the So Joanna book. Now look that up. It's SO space JOANNA book. It's a book that was found in the American South, and it's got all these coordinates and crypt ciphers, and it's a travel book with a bunch of scribbling in it that nobody knows what it is, and there's a whole society trying to decipher what the point or what the spirituality of this book is.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is our first four movies, The Hike, WJHCAM, Camp Smokey, and Showdown in Secret City, all correlate with keywords that were written in this book over 70 years ago, and the coordinates of where, because if you ever go to our website, we show where all these stories are taking place. These coordinates line up with all of these, like, yep, that's it, the So Joanna book, yep. And you'll actually see on the fandom Wikipedia thing, they'll reference our movies. And I actually had a guy contact me. He wore a mask on my podcast. It was like Iceberg Slim. He did not want to be identified. But he accused us of actually creating the hoax to promote our movies. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But Spearfinger is a code word. There's a code word in one of our movies, Wormwood, which is in it. A lot of the coordinates, it's just crazy. That was total coincidence. But it's crazy how there's a whole society is trying to decipher what all that stuff means, and they're kind of making a little bit of progress with what the original author was trying to get at. So it's wild.
What is
Check it out.
I was going to say, we do a Christmas show every year. We do a Christmas show, and we have a quiz, and we have a drink whilst we're doing it, and this, that, and the other. Would you like to come on and join us on our Christmas show? And trust me, it's an honor to be invited onto the Dark Mirror Christmas show.
I would love to.
Us three, yourself, and there'll be a couple of other guests who we deem worthy enough to come on. And again, we do a quiz show. It's nothing, and the questions aren't paranormal; they're general knowledge, which pisses a lot of people off because they go no. So yeah. And then you have a drink as you're doing it, and the talk, and you can go on as long as you want, and the talk gets better and better and better the more the drink flows, and it's always an awesome time. So would you like to join us?
I would love to if we could figure out the time zone that I'm in, correlating to you. But by the way, this is the third week I tried to get on your show, and it just kept getting. it was weird. It was like it's like I'm an alien. It's like I was on Mars trying to get on your show. I couldn't figure out what time you guys were rocking and rolling.
Yeah, it takes a while to get used to it.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, Josh is our man across the pond, and he. I mean, it's a different. Whenever we have guests on, it's different because Josh normally tells us what's going on over there and this, that, you know. But like I say, it's been amazing. Do you know the film Critters? Do you remember Critters?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Josh's beard. Look at Critters. The film. There's been no more versions of Critters around, and I've just seen Josh's beard, and that's all I'll say.
Well, shave now, Mark. Thanks.
So, yeah, if you'll join us again, that would be absolutely brilliant, mate.
I would love it.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Vinny. And yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go because somebody's going to be hopping mad that we've gone into their time.
Yeah.
So I would like to say thank you for joining us, Vinny.
Nice meeting you.
And you too, as usual, a pleasure. Everybody who's been joining us out there in YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and everything else, thank you for watching us, guys. We'll be back next week. Remember, keep your eyes to the skies. If you see anything, message us, any of us, or email us. And if you look, you'll see the email address going across the bottom there. And you can message myself, Wayne, or Josh. Keep your eyes to the skies, keep it real, and we will see you soon. And aliens! And any messages from anybody else? Nobody?
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Happy Veterans Day.
Okay, then in that case, I will say shalom, Jackie, and see you soon. Bye-bye.